Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Mike, and I hope everyone's doing well. Today I want to talk to you about aftermarket woes when it comes to Masterpiece Transformers if you miss them at retail, and I'm going to kind of talk about what you can do to avoid that in the future. What should you do if you're in that situation? And yes, I know I talk about this quite often, but every time I talk about it, I get a lot more questions, comments, and different perspectives. And I do want to point out that some people in the past month, 5 or 6 people, have actually kind of told me what they think, and it's very, very similar. Why are these astronomically priced figures priced so high they make absolutely no sense? It's like that will never sell for that price. I'm going to tell you why. I think I've found out the true reason why these things are so ultra high priced. We'll talk about a whole slew of things and then finish up with this one coming up. Before we get into this discussion of the day, of the week, I just want to say that if you've never been to Showz's store before, go check it out. If you go to Showz's store and, hey, I've sent you there, or you've gone there for my review or my link or whatever, I would appreciate it if you do this new function they've set up, support your favorite reviewer. All you need to do is go in that little box and type in capital T, capital H, boom, click go, takes like 3 seconds, and help me out. But I do put a link down below to Showz in all my videos. I like Showz because I get the best price, you get the best price, and it feels good knowing that I'm helping people save money. Okay, so first off, you want to buy figures at retail for retail price. The best thing to do, in my opinion, is to pre-order them. So it used to be a wait and see if there was a sale, and we'll talk about that here in a bit because I have some personal experience with that. But pre-ordering it, you usually get the best price. Now, I know at Showz you get the best price, and what I've seen with other places, TF Sources in my backup, I look there, but you get the best price. Like what's on the market right now, like we have with X-Transbots, you can go out and get you a Virtus, you can go get yourself, well, right now we have on sale here, this little guy here, this Neptune, he's pretty good. What else you have out there on the market? So you have some Fans Toys stuff, such as Outrider. Outrider is still, this is the first run. I don't know if he's going to go on sale, get any cheaper, or when they get lower stock, maybe jack the price up on them just a little bit. Who really knows? But there's so many things right now at retail. You got to stop and decide. This is at retail right now, at a retail price. Some of them even are a little bit on a sale. Should I buy it right now? Or will I have an aftermarket woe? I mean, there's so many good ones right now, whether it's Perceptor, whether you're looking at X-Transbots or Fans Toys Perceptor. There are so many good ones coming out. And then there's currently so much competition for the same character that, like, right now, you can go get at Showz this Takara Trailbreakers 130. Like, that's cheaper than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be 150, 156 or something. 130, that's an excellent price for them. I don't have them yet, but I'm going to get them. I'm going to review them. Take a look at this guy. So next I want to get into kind of talking about waiting for a sale, waiting for clearance. Now that is definitely a scary area. So it's one of those things that my advice is, if you really, really want to figure like this Commander stack here, then you need to just pre-order them and then buy them and be done with it. And not feel bad if he goes on sale for $50 cheaper 2 or 3 months down the line, because this dude is sold out. Now, I know X-Transbots, and X-Transbots likes to do reissues and all that stuff, but they haven't reissued everything that they've made just yet. They probably will eventually, but they haven't yet. So I don't know if we're going to see this color scheme again anytime soon. And I'm in this situation. I thought I was going to catch them on sale. I was like, yeah, $200 is a lot, and maybe I'll get them a little bit cheaper. Maybe, who knows what kind of sale. And it was during the holidays. But also, there's other things like I'm collecting 71 toy lines, and you got $400 for this Holy Grail and a vintage item, and $300 for another one, and $400 for another one, and a lot of stuff that helps me finish a vintage collection. And then property taxes, a couple grand, all that kind of stuff hits all at once. I'll put this to the next month. So getting it at retail, if you really, really want it, you need to get it right away. So let's start talking about reissues. The next thing I would say is, okay, if you miss out on it at retail and there's not a good one on the secondary market for a good price, then wait for a reissue. But see, that advice probably isn't the best either. We have seen a new trend with reissues costing way more than the original, even though I don't have to fund the new mold, which is weird. So that's a weird thing. It's mostly with Fans Toys, but we've seen it with X-Transbots did it to a smaller degree, and almost every company. The only one that really didn't seem to be affected at all was Bad Cube, MMC not so much, and so yeah, with that, Fans Toys X-Transbots are still charging quite a bit of premium for any of their old figures that they reissue. Looking at Dracula right now, I was just at TF Source, $250 on sale. $250. I think the original one I got mine for $130. It's almost double the price what I paid for it. I know times have changed, but they haven't changed double. They haven't gone up that much. So with that, you could still get burned on a reissue. It feels like some reissues are an aftermarket woe. So at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I am going to talk about KOs real quick. And KOs are sort of far between these days. I did make a video how it was over. It has definitely been impacted, subdued. There's less KOs on the market available for sale, for purchase, than there used to be back in the day. Back in the heyday of like 2014 to 2018, there was just plentiful. But somewhere around 2019, it started to slow down drastically. Now, if you didn't jump in on the good price of between $115 and $140 for Thomas and was it Quietus and these other KOs of the Fans Toys, those are starting to sell out at all places and getting harder and harder to get. And of course, you only can get even those, even the KOs, you can only find them on the aftermarket. Another aftermarket woe. I don't know if the KO companies are just going to do another run next year and then next year. Who knows if we're going to get KO reissues. But with that, it's one of those things. You got to jump on it while it's there. So the next point I really want to talk about is if you miss out on something you really want and you're suffering aftermarket woes thinking, man, I don't want to pay $400 or $500 for whatever figure I missed out. Well, you could always look to other options. You don't have to say, unless you're one of those Fans Toys completists and I got to have every Fans Toys figure or an X-Transbots completist or Takara completist or whatever, then you can look at other options. And so with that, other companies pop up. The reason I want to point out this Star Toys one isn't because it is really that hard to find other iterations of this character, because there's Blitzwings from DX9 that are still pretty affordable, like $130, $140, and then there's a Blitzwing from KFC, and you can still get that one. I think you can still get that one for a pretty reasonable price. But with it, just the general mindset of other companies pop up, other companies make new characters, and there's better options that are out there, or better options that show up. So I always feel crunchy if I spend way too much on a figure, like I did Phoenix. The Phoenix, I missed out on it. I bought it. It's great. I'm happy with it. But I still feel a little crunchy for overpaying for it. But will Takara's be better? Who knows? But looking at this, will Fans Toys be better than this? Will this be the reigning king, and then Fans Toys come along and just be sort of meh, sort of okay? But with all these new options and coming almost every week or two, we see something else new pop up. It's sort of exciting. You might just play the waiting game. You know, wait and see what else pops up. But then again, if it's at retail and you really like it, you got to get it. So one of the things, the comments for the Phantasm video are people feel like they like their Transform element better than they like the Fans Toys. And that kind of is a result showing a few different things. First of all, it shows that Phantasm is still available on the market at retail. And it also shows that Fans Toys does good work. All their figures are decent. They're good. They're usually the very best that are out there. But there's some that still can hold their own to Fans Toys. And with that, not everything that's coming down the road is going to be an improvement or better or stellar. Some of the stuff that you get right now is pretty good. Which leads me into this next topic, which I would not have guessed in 2019 I'd be saying this. But there's a lot of people out there that still prefer MP10. I see it in the comments to this day. People prefer MP10 to any of the modern iterations. Now, I do like certain aspects of it. I love the chrome, and it's got some real world to it, and there's some really good aspects to this, but I prefer the tune, but not too tuned to a detriment. So with that, I looked up prices on this to kind of back up what people have been saying, and truthfully, the cheapest Takara one that's complete, well, it's boxed, but it's the only one, $250. But the cheapest one for the Toys R Us version from Hasbro is $350. And there are some various different loose ones that seem kind of strange one off there. But for the most part, this is an expensive, hard figure to get. In fact, if I were to try to go buy this figure, I might pay more than I did for my MP44. That blows my mind. So I touched on the boxed versus loose just a little bit. I didn't really go too deep into that, but I really need to discuss this. Now, a lot of people talk about this, that it doesn't matter if you keep your box, throw your box away, and all this kind of stuff. And if you look in history, it could skew it. But this is one moment in time. Literally one. Things, when you watch this video, everything might change. But I did a search, and I said lowest to highest. This is the first version of Tesla. Now, Tesla is a really good example for this because this is a figure that's out of print, out of production. You're never going to get this exact figure made again. The 2015 version, version 1. So there's a loose one that appears to be complete, doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it, and it is $86. Nobody's touching it. Nobody's buying it. But yet there's one below it that is got a box that's been opened. They say it's new in box, just been opened, but never taken out or whatever. But you don't really know. You really don't know. It could have been taken out and just put back in. But it's already got a bid of $98, almost a week left to go. Like it just started, and it's almost at $100. So with that, I see this over and over and over. There are some, of course, there's going to be some exceptions to the rule, but the box always costs a little bit more with the box. And when it comes to Masterpiece Transformers, I actually kind of trust getting them shipped in the box to arrive safer, in my opinion. That's just my opinion about this whole thing, but Tesla's a good example because made of brittle plastic, breaks really easy, so there's a lot of things that could be wrong with this. A lot of people say, well, if you buy it loose and it's been transformed, well, you know it's going to hold up. The plastic's good enough to hold up to a transformation, so it's good. Brand new in the box, you might have a pile of rubble. Well, you can see it's not broken. So the last point I have on my list here, which I think is actually pretty important, is why are figures like the Blue Grinder and it's mostly Fans Toys, let's just be honest, mostly Fans Toys, and it's mostly really obscure Fans Toys figures, going for $1,300. I looked it up. There's one listing. It's brand new in the box. It's $1,300. So when it comes to items like this, I have gotten the feedback from viewers. I got feedback from my friends, and I've got feedback from sellers that I'm trying to negotiate a price with. And over the past month or two, I've heard the same thing. I've heard that this is the only one I have in my collection. I don't really want to sell it, but I'll let it go if you pay this price. It's not in those exact words, but that's the feeling I get. Well, I mean, actually, I've had somebody tell me the exact words. I'll back that up. Someone told me those exact words, by the way, and astronomical prices. And some of the stuff sells, but it's the only one I have in my collection. It's the only one they have in their collection. They're just collectors out there that say, hey, this price is crazy. It's crazy enough for me to let it go. You got to step back and look at your collection. You got to think, if you would part with a figure for an astronomical price, would you do it? That's an interesting question. That's almost a whole other topic. But with that, most people would say, I'm not parting with any of my stuff for any price, no matter what. I love my collection. But then there's other people out there that are like, what, $1,300? Yeah, I'll sell it right now. So anyway, I'm curious what you think about this topic. Have you experienced aftermarket woes? Have you experienced all of the stuff that I've talked about? And if you made it this far in the video, like and subscribe, please. But you can be part of the next video, so please put down below the figures that you're looking forward to in 2023, because of course I'm going to be talking about that next week. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear it, and I'd love to get more input other than just my own on what's coming up in 2023 that people are excited about. Like and subscribe. Happy Friday. Great weekend. Tydirium Hanger out.